Hi there. This is your video for week 6 of the Love Your Limitless Business program, where we're going to be talking about your energy and how to use your energy to get yourself unstuck from anything that you're feeling at the moment. It's also known as self-sabotage often, isn't it? So let's go. I'm hoping this, here we go. All these flicky bits in this video, my son actually did them, which I'm super impressed with because he was 9 when he did these. So first of all, what is self-sabotage? It's your unconscious need to be in control. And that's why it's called self-sabotage, because often you don't even realize that you're doing it. It's a pattern that you have. They're beliefs that we have going on in our head, and I'll cover these more in detail as we go on. Things that we believe and therefore stop ourselves from doing other things. And when we're trying to integrate our energy and our thoughts so that they serve us now, that's what my whole purpose of this video is, to help you to understand your energy, to help you understand where you are self-sabotaging, to help you understand how to change your energetic patterns, how to change the vibrations that you are putting out there so that your memories do serve you now. So here's where I talk about your vibes. This is a little bit blurry and I'm sorry about that, but this is your emotional scale. You may have seen me talking about this before. At the low end, where you have those low, slow vibrational, resistant emotions, fear, powerlessness, depression, guilt, hatred, anger, jealousy, greed, blame, worry, boredom, overwhelm, they are all negative, low vibrational thoughts and emotions that if you're putting that out there all the time, that's what you're going to be getting back. You've all heard of the law of attraction. If you're putting out the feeling of hatred and anger, then that's what you're going to attract back in various different forms from various different sources. Whereas at the other end of the scale, those high vibrational emotions that we feel, love, joy, freedom, that is the ultimate aim, where you want to be. That's the highest vibrational emotion you can feel: empowered, abundant, eager, excited, happy, passionate, confident and optimistic, hope, strength, contentment and calmness. Even just saying those words, my vibration kind of aura, I can feel myself getting all like G'd up by these. So throughout this whole program, I want to take you from the lower resistant emotions and get you up that scale to love, joy and freedom in as many areas of your life as possible. That is where you feel like you're in flow. And why do we do it? Because we're protecting ourselves. You'll have heard me say in the past that our brain is our comfort blanket. Our brain, that we listen to more often than we listen to our energy, is there to go, oh, you don't want to do that because you might fail. And if you fail, people are going to laugh at you. And if people laugh at you, your pride is going to be hurt. We're listening to our brain and therefore self-sabotaging, because we're not taking those risks. We're not pushing us forward because we've got these fears that we didn't know that we had, but that are there. It's our safety net. And as I said, our brain doesn't like us to go into that panic zone. Because that's outside of where we're comfortable. And the minute you go into that panic zone, or your alarm bells start ringing, and it's easier to self-sabotage and listen to those memories, those fears, those patterns that you have inside your head. It's easier to listen to those and stay in that comfort zone than it is to stretch yourself out of it. And as I said, it all comes from this, from a fear-based thought that you have, that's come from somewhere that you may not recognize at the moment, but you may get, it's like when we're on a diet and we go past the cream cake shop, oh, I'll just have the one, even though you know that you shouldn't, we still do it. Because what's the fear? The fear is that you're going to miss out if you don't. Why? I mean, it's silly, isn't it? Because we want to lose the weight, but we still go ahead and eat the chocolate bar, eat the cakes, eat the bread, eat the pasta, because it's our form. Perhaps deep down, we prefer ourselves with a little bit of weight on, and it's not us that we're losing the weight for. There's various amounts of reasons, and I'm not a psychologist, but using our energy, we can identify why we have these patterns of self-sabotage. And we especially self-sabotage when we're surrounded by people who are victims. You've heard me talk about people who are victims before, people who have this constant drama in their lives, that are part of the drama triangles, that don't serve us, that are part of the old paradigm. We want to live in the new paradigm where we always come from a place of love. We know people who believe that the universe is against them all the time. And if you are surrounding yourselves with those kind of people, I like to call them the Jeremy Kylers of the world. If you surround yourself with those people, then your energy is going to suck from their energy, and you're going to feel that dragging you down, weighing you down. And then it is hard to move on and get out of there. Whereas if you surround yourself by people who are positive, who are successful, who are abundant in lots of areas of their life, then this is going to have the knock-on effect on you as well. Much like as you raise your own vibration, you will feel the vibration of everybody else around you coming up as well. Over time, it's not immediate. So here is like this comfort zone, is the little blue bit. If you are constantly putting out the negative energy, the law of attraction, that is what you're going to get back. So if you constantly believe that you don't have money, you're never going to have money. Whereas if you act and you believe deep down that the universe supports you on all of these things, that's what you get back. So there's the red zone, that panic zone. We're kind of comfortable in that stretch, but the minute we go into the red zone, we feel stressed, and stress is a negative emotion on that scale. So we're going to get your default patterns so that you're comfortable with a little bit of stress, and you know ultimately how to deal with your stress. Look at that. Isn't my son clever? Go away then, curtains. Okay, there we go. Your aura. I love talking about our aura. It is fantastic. Now, if ever I were to have a comfort zone, this is my aura. My aura acts, well, not mine, your aura as well, can expand up to 20 feet and perhaps a little bit further than that as well. And you can sense other people's aura. So when somebody walks into the room and they've not said anything, they've not even looked, you get a vibe from them, don't you? You can sense, and that's because our auras obviously blend like this. As we walk into a room and other people's energy is in the room, then our auras blend. And when you do that, you can pick up on, oh God, that person's in a bad mood, or I know already without you speaking that I don't think we're going to get on that well. That's because you're picking up on the energy in their aura. So our thoughts are fast-moving, high vibe energy, but we can't see them. But you're having it right now. You're probably thinking, what the hell is Claire talking about? And why am I seeing a picture with a rainbow around a woman? Our auras do have different colours to them. I've only seen a couple of people's auras, and for me, it's easier to see them if they're against a plain background. And when I do, I'm like, oh my God, I can see it, I can see it. I don't know what the colours mean or anything like that yet, but just being able to see it for me is fascinating. We have, I might be jumping forward. Okay, so your aura is recording your thoughts at all times. Think of it like a recording device that's permanently with you at your side from the moment you were conceived to the moment we die. It's recording everything you see, hear, witness, experience. Everything you do, it is recorded in your aura. Thoughts which are lower vibe are slower and make us feel stuck and heavy. They're the resistance thoughts. I've already covered that. It carries all of your previous patterns, your beliefs, and all the emotions you have ever felt. Now remember, you can't remember all of these with your brain, because our brain, although it's a very clever piece of equipment, our brain doesn't remember everything. When we see things, when we witness things, I think as we're looking around, I think we take in like 10% of everything that we're actually seeing, whereas our aura takes it all in. And we can't see anything outside of our own experience. This is why and I've put witness statements here. If there is a car crash and I'm stood on the side of the road and I see the car crash and there's somebody inside the car who's involved in the car crash, our statements, although they'll be very similar, there will be differences. I will see something that they haven't seen. They will have heard something that I haven't heard. So witness statements are great, obviously, but we all have slightly different variations of the same incident. So this is a really good example of when you're in flow and when you're out of flow. So this top red one is when you are out of flow, when you are having those low vibrational emotions, frustration, anxiety, worry, irritation. Look how jagged your heart is. If you're stressed, it's going to feel like this. It even looks painful to look at. If you sat on that, that would be painful. Look at all these jagged edges. But if you're in flow, you have a nice rhythmic pattern when you're having those positive emotions of love, joy, freedom, calmness, contentment, happiness, all of those. It's nice and in flow. That is where we want you to be. This image comes from I think it's the Heart Math Institute, but it's a really good visual representation of being in flow and being out of flow. Okay, I have to read this. This is quite sciencey. So our thoughts, I can't remember the name of that film that came out a couple of years ago with all the little people in it, and one was called love, one was called anger, one was called, she's tired all the time and she used to lie down and be dragged around. But the representation in that film I thought was phenomenal. Each of our thoughts was a marble that was stored in a system somewhere else that wasn't in our brain. And it was a really good representation for children on our thoughts and what we do with them and how we forget about them, but they're still there in the back of our minds. So it's an idea or an opinion produced by thinking or occurring suddenly in the mind, and actually they don't really know where our thoughts come from. They physiologically working on calming the brain and the nervous system. They can help lower our heart rate. There's 300 miles of capillaries in there and 10 quadrillion calculations every second in our brain. That alone blows my mind. Psychological, looking to change to our mental set points, our default settings. And this is why I say look at the film with the marble storing thoughts, which I can never remember the name of. I must remember it. You'll probably know what it is. But science isn't clear what thoughts are and where they're stored, but you need to know that they are energy, and they have to have energy for you to experience them, because everything is energetic. We have 5 senses, and our experience are processed by the brain, but they all come through one of those senses, don't they? We know when we touch things, we see things, we hear things, we taste things. I've forgotten what the 5th sense is. And 11 million bits of data every second, but our conscious mind only processes 50 of those every second. And that's what I was saying, when we see things, everybody will pick up on something different. I know that I'm quite an observant person, and when I'm driving down the road, I can be, oh, look, did you see that over there? And the people in the car with me will be like, no. And I'm like, how did you not see that? It was really clear. But that's just an example of my mind processing things differently to those around me. Our heart energy is the 6th sense, meaning our heart isn't controlled by our brain. It controls nerves and hormones and has an input to the brain. Our heart energy, they've measured our heart energy as well, and it's much more powerful than our brain energy, which is why I encourage you all to always listen to your energy and trust your own heart. And we live in a world that our minds have constructed. Dun, dun, dun. How about this? Fear is an idea crippling, experience crushing, success stalling inhibitor inflicted only by yourself. This is that glass ceiling that you have put in front of you, above you. A ceiling wouldn't be in front of you, would it? The things that you have put in place, that you are self-sabotaging your own success because you have a fear somewhere that you need to acknowledge, accept, and align to changing it. And I thought this was a really, really good quote. So this is where we come into looking at your own self-sabotage. So there will be patterns of thoughts that you think every day that don't serve you in any way. So where's my money? I need money. I'm so unfit. Oh, I'm so unattractive. Oh, there's no way I can do that. Or my business is not going to thrive, or I can't find any clients. If you are constantly thinking this, especially around money, where's my money? I've not got any money, then you're never going to get it, because that is the vibe that you're putting out. You're putting out there that you don't have money. Okay, so you've not got any money, but you're still here. Why do you need any more money? You don't want to come from a place of need, a place of push. You need to come from a place of flow. So if you believe that you can't ever find any clients, then the clients aren't going to come and find you, are they? We've talked about this in finding and attracting your soul clients, so you should know what to do in there. But if you are constantly thinking these thoughts every day, this is the consistent energy that you're putting out there. The universe is listening to your consistent energy. And we need to change your thoughts so that the universe is listening to the higher vibe thoughts and not the lower negative ones. That was my dog shaking in the background, if you heard that. So instead of I can't find any clients, you could change your thinking process to I know what I need to do to find my soul client. Or there's no way I can do that. You could change that to I'm not in a position to do that now, but when the time is right, I will. Or you could even be more positive than that and say, I've never done that before and I'm excited to try it, which is a much more positive statement. I'm so unfit, I'm so unattractive. You could change it to, I love myself for who I am and I'm excited to start a new diet, something like this, a new exercise plan, whatever it be. Where's my money? I need my money. Upbeat, I'm thankful for the money I have in my purse, and I know the universe will support me. They're alternative ways to think about these negative patterns of thoughts that you have every day. Changing your language can change your world. It really can, and you have to train yourself to catch your words before they leave your mouth. And even when they're in your brain and you're not voicing them, when you're just thinking them, you need to catch those thoughts before you think them and change them into a more positive, high vibe statement. So your default versus moving forward. At the moment, your default is self-sabotage, and we're looking at how we can move things forward. So our memories have been shown to be a series of neurons firing in the brain. They are just our understanding of what happened. They are our understanding of what happened. So your understanding versus somebody else's understanding is different. They are our recording, our perception. Does that make it real? Just take a minute to think about that and think about any patterns of thought that you have on a daily basis. So let's look at the I'm useless with money. Why do you think that you're useless with money? Why have you got that understanding? That's your perception. Is that because you've been told you're useless with money? Were you told you were useless with money as a child? Oh, sorry. Why? I want you to think of 3 reasons why you would think of that pattern, and then go, actually, does that make it real, or is it just a belief I have? Has your story ever changed, even ever so slightly? This is the fisherman's tale, isn't it? Who caught a fish this big, and by the time he got home, he'd caught a whale. Because our perception can change over time as well. So something you believed 20 years ago, do you still believe it now in the same way, or is it changed slightly? We need to change our memories if they aren't in flow and they don't serve us in the present. And I'm guessing many of your beliefs don't serve you in the future that you want to achieve. And going back to the aura, they are recorded stories in the mental layer of our aura. As I said, we've got lots of different layers to our aura, and I do aura audits with people to help them work through where they have blocks in their aura. But our thoughts are stored in the mental layer. But we don't need to relive these thoughts. And at the bottom here, I put sharks, blood, sea, as a reminder for me to tell you a story. When I was 6, we went to France on a family. My mum and dad and myself, we went to France on a holiday. First time I'd been abroad. Very exciting. We drove down and caught the ferry, as I remember. And see, as I remember, that is what we did because I've got photos of it. And we went to the beach. We weren't staying very near the beach. It was about a 45-minute drive. And I remember being in the back of the car and picking a scab on my knee. And my dad saying to me, don't pick that scab on your knee because it will bleed. And then when you go in the water, the sharks will smell your blood and they'll come and bite your leg off. So as a 6-year-old girl, this absolutely terrified me. So as time has gone on, I'm actually a very strong swimmer in the pool. I really don't like swimming in the sea at all because I think that sharks are going to come and nibble on my legs. Sharks don't really nibble, do they? They do take chunks out of legs because of what my dad told me. Now, I was swimming not in the Med, but is it the English, no, it would have been the Atlantic at the time. So yeah, there are sharks, but not necessarily on the west coast of France. I don't think you see many of them there. And he petrified me, and that stayed with me. So your default beliefs that you have often come from things that have been said to you, things you've overheard, things that you've seen, but things that aren't strictly true. I know sharks have a strong sense of smell, but it wasn't even bleeding that much. It's not like I had a leg ripped off. It was just a tiny scab. Oh well, I'm over it now. So where do our core beliefs come from? From family, and this is the story, the shark story. From the media, from religion, the interpretation of things we have seen, heard, or said. Some beliefs do serve us, but others hold us back and stop us from achieving our dreams. They are just a perception of what we think is true. Always remember that our beliefs aren't necessarily true. Oh, that's this course that you're on. I'll flick through that. Okay, it's time to use your energy. Remember the sway? We're bringing it back. So we're going to transform your core beliefs because they put limitations on beliefs about the future. Projecting our fears onto what could happen in the future based on what we've already experienced. That's when you kind of go, oh, well, I tried that before and it didn't work, so I'm not going to do it again because I failed. Those kind of fears. We have to shift what is there in our energy now to help us achieve in the future, resetting the new neural pathways, resetting your default beliefs and thoughts. And I love this quote. If you haven't read The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, please do. Well, I listened to it. It's a great audio book as well. Gradually, I came to see that I was just worrying for the sake of choking the flow of positive energy in myself. Worrying was one way I was upper limiting myself. Upper limiting is another word for self-sabotaging. You're not getting to your upper limits because you are in a state of worry, anxiety, stress, all of those negative emotions that are stopping you being in that flow of life, remember? So please take a screenshot of these. Please write them down. I'm going to leave them on the screen for a while because each one of these statements are ones that I know people, I don't want to say suffer from, but people sway positively on. So yes, I'm not worthy of success. So what the idea of this is for you to find out if you have a pattern of believing. So with your sway, please stand up and then just ask your energy, do I have a pattern of believing I'm not worthy of success? Yes or no. Do I have a pattern of believing I'm useless at running a business? Yes or no. Do I have a pattern of believing I can't say no? Yes or no. So work through the list, tick all the ones where you have a yes, where you sway, yes. Please do not use your head for this. Please step out of your head and use your energy to ask the question. Do not rely on your head. Once you've done all of your yeses, so you've done step one, you've asked, do I have a pattern of believing? Step two, you've moved, you've swayed. So now step three, I want you to find out how many patterns you have. So do I have more than 10 patterns of believing that I can't say no? Yes. Do I have more than 100 patterns of believing I can't say no? Yes. Do I have more than 500 patterns? And get it down to a number. And then you can say, if it's more than 500 but less than 1,000, okay, is it more than 750? Narrow it down until you've got the number of patterns you have. It can be in the millions. Don't worry about the numbers. They're just represented. They are just representing how often you've said this to yourself. Once you have found your number, you move on to step 4. I'm ready to release the number of patterns of believing that I'm ready to release the 767 patterns of believing that I'm no good with money, or I can't say no, whatever the pattern of belief is. I release it all from my energy, in all forms, on all levels, at all points in time. And you say that 3 times. So I'm ready to release the 757 patterns of believing that I'm no good with money. I release it all from my energy, in all forms, on all levels, at all points in time, 3 times. Once you have released them all, you move on to step 5, and you put in a positive statement, which is usually the opposite of what you've been releasing. So I'm ready to allow myself to believe that the universe is supporting me and I have an abundance of money coming to me, something like that, something that is positive for you. I allow this into my energy in all forms, on all levels, at all points in time. And you say that 3 times again. And remember, when you're doing a step 5, you stand with your arms in the air as demonstrated on the picture. Okay. I'll leave that there for a second. Please take notes. You can stop the recording, can't you? I've just realized. Okay. Once you have released all of your patterns, you then need to take aligned actions to reset your default settings. So I want you to challenge your thoughts. From now on in, challenge your thoughts. Every time you think something about when you're doing something new, when you're pushed out of your comfort zone, is this thought serving me in a positive way? If it isn't, use the sway to get rid of it. What is it based on? And this is what I was saying before. I want you to find, if you think of the thought as like the umbrella, I want you to find 3 supporting reasons as to why it could be true. So what is it based on? Is it based on something that you were told as a child? Is it based on something you've read in a book? Is it based on something you learned at school? Any of those. And have I tried this before? And if you have, does it matter that you've tried it before and it didn't work? Or did you try it before and it was successful and you want to do it differently? Just look at your thought process every time. Use the sway to check in with your daily thoughts, reactions, and fears. Don't forget you can use the sway at any time. So is this action going to be in my best interest, yes or no? That kind of thing. And chunk down the tasks that you are avoiding to do. So don't try and tackle things head on there and then. Sometimes it's more beneficial to do things in smaller doses. And of course, be your own biggest cheerleader, because if you don't believe in yourself and have the confidence to promote yourself, then nobody else is going to believe in you. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Please, if you have any questions, bring them to the next group Zoom call that we have. And good luck with it all.